Okay, we have like 10 pages left in the chapter, but some of them are big drawings
Diagrams.
of dicks and f***s, so.
I'm just gonna.
Are we talking about dicks again?
I'm thinking about dicks. I'm sorry.
I never stopped thinking about dicks, so there we go.
The vaginal wall. Tell us all about it, Joel, because you've seen so many.
All things under me. Where are your crotch potatoes? Anyway, the
For in that he shall put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him. This is a serious topic, and we need to be respectful of our creator and maker.
I'm sorry. I have my serious face on now.
All right. I'm sorry. 5 of our generations to come will suffer for our disrespect, but I'm going to continue. All right.
to the third and fourth coming.
There's a fourth coming? Outstanding.
Welcome to UnPack-It, the inappropriate and unruly show where former cult kids read the books of their former cult. I'm Patti, and I make a podcast with my sister Nancy called the Apostate Sisters. But for this show, our good friend Joel of the channel Mr. Difficult joins us because Joel also grew up in the Worldwide Church of God. If you've been following along, we have been going through The Missing Dimension in Sex, written by Herbert W. Armstrong. The link is in the description, and tonight we're starting with Chapter 10. And with that, who is kicking us off tonight?
All right. I'm already not liking where this is going. Chapter 10.
Kicking us off? Kicking us off? Is that like, who's finishing us off? Who's kicking us off?
Starting us off.
To start us off? Is that foreplay?
Off to a great start, huh? Fearfully and wonderfully made. Why are those two terms in the same sentence?
Great fucking point.
So when you think of wonder, that also incorporates fear. And so think of the word terrible. You're so terrible. But the word originally came from terror. And so when you think about like awesome, it inspires awe. And then when you say like wonderful, it inspires wonder. And so talk about like so fearfully and wonderfully made. I can see it, and I think a lot of people.
I don't see how you connected those words.
Oh, I think it is terror. Yeah, like fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's not the word. The word is fearfully.
Fear. Right. Yeah, fearfully made. Yeah, it's like
fear and terror are similar.
I was just you were saying that fear and terror and wonder. Wonder is the same thing, and actually, the word for wonder in Hebrew is originally means like some horrible thing. Like the actual meaning for a wonderful thing in Hebrew originally meant a horrible thing. So, yep. So horrible.
So are you trying to say that, I mean, those are still other words other than fearfully. I think Nancy's point is the idea that like, why are we being taught as little kids?
Like I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Exactly.
Why are fear and wonder put together when something being wonderful is not something you would be afraid of? It's that same thing of like conflating fear and love that biblically happens.
And if we truly believed in the Bible, love wipes out all fear.
While saying that we should fear God. So
yeah, no.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of understanding. That's the way. I mean,
quoting Bible scriptures doesn't change the fact that kids being told that fear is love is fucking them up.
I agree. I 100% agree.
All you want, but that's not
right.
Like
no, I'm not. So this is what I said.
Whole fearfully and wonderfully made is some bullshit from Go.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Why is fearfully in the same sentence as wonderfully? Yes, if I'm just going to use the term wonder, I get excited about that. In awe, in wonder of something.
Curiosity.
Right.
But why is that the term in this sentence here? Why does he start with that? Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Talking about our bodies.
Yes. Why is this term in here? Like, okay, I'm assuming that he's putting it in there because, yes, we're wonderfully made, I guess. But then
Garbage
fearful.
dump amusement park.
Say that
Exactly.
again.
But
What?
then,
Garbage
Amusement park?
dump amusement park.
but I'm assuming he's sticking fearfully in here because we're made, yes, but we're made to be fearful of this guy. This guy. Am I wrong about that? Like, we're made to be fearful.
Yeah, put us in our place.
Yes,
in,
put us
in,
in our
in line
place
with the
from
God.
very beginning. Instill fear in this wonderful creation that he's made. That's the connection that I'm getting from that.
I don't even know how to describe that, but I'll say this. I'll say this. I think that telling children from the get-go to be so terrified of God that you are trembling at your knees and like that type of children, like that is yeah, I completely agree with you. And then to like tell people, yeah. So that's what I was trying to say is like I am in full. I think that's why we were like when we were talking, it's like no. I'm saying I agree with you. I was presenting apologetics and stuff like that, but no, I completely agree. I don't think that we should be afraid.
Yeah, it's manipulation in an abusive relationship. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we made it one sentence in, guys. Go us.
Oh,
All
no,
right.
we didn't. We got the title.
We got the subtitle even. And then 2 sentences in this subtitle. So, fearfully and wonderfully made in chapter 10. Here we go. People speak of the dignity of man, but how little do they know, usually, whereof they speak. As humanity generally conducts itself, little of that dignity is apparent. Yet the true potential of man is utterly and incredibly beyond his ken.
Where it says whereof in the first paragraph, this is, I think, his little jab as well, because it's like about which we speak, right? Whereof we're about to start looking at anatomy. So he put that in there on purpose. I do believe so. Who would say whereof like that?
Can you explain that again? I'm sorry.
Wait, why?
Okay. People speak of the dignity of man, but how little do they know usually where of they speak. And if you go down a couple pages, we're talking about location of the genitals and stuff like that. I think he did
Saying
that
the dignity of man is their junk?
Where the hell does he use whereof in this book?
I don't know.
I'm going to do a quick search.
Again, he plagiarized it from another book.
4 times in the entire book does he say it.
Okay.
4 times. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's a weird word to use. And I think he was doing a tongue-in-cheek statement there. I really do.
Like they're placing where their dignity comes from somewhere else instead of from the almighty cock. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they don't know where they're talking about. Or
Holy fuck. All right,
And I'm sorry, but why does the term tongue-in-cheek make me think of, a little ass licking? Tongue in between the cheeks? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of different cheeks here. Next section, dignity of man, ? Ringing silently in my ears as I write are those strains from one of the lively choruses of Handel's Messiah. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. Yes, as Paul was inspired to write, all have sinned. Man, by his own thoughts and actions, has contributed only conversely to any commendable dignity. He has polluted, contaminated, perverted, abused, ruined, misused everything a benevolent God has placed within reach of his hands. He has rejected and rebelled against his maker. Just men, not women, apparently. So just men in this case. Why then should the great God be concerned about man? The psalmist asked that question. David's answer was, Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. But the whole truth is not revealed in that Old Testament passage. David merely included the dominion. God gave Adam and his descendants dominion over the animals and the land, over the fish and the seas, and over the fowls and the air, as far as Earth's atmosphere extends. That is all the dominion God has given mortal man. Yet, and man has polluted and misused it all. Really? All of it? Okay. All of it. Not satisfied with that, man is now seeking to extend his dominion beyond the jurisdiction God assigned. Today, man is venturing off limits. He has already made repeated landings on the moon and returned to Earth, and now speaks of landing on Mars or other planets.
Oh, the horror.
I'm sorry. Did God put limitations on stay on this planet alone and don't go beyond it? Is that
I never heard anything about that.
I know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like he's like, yes, God gave all you humans. You get to have the air, the land, the sea. It's yours. You have dominion. Don't
Mhm.
you dare breach the upper limits of the atmosphere. Like, you're
Ooh.
getting too
Right.
big for your britches now.
Are we Babylon? Right.
I know. Right.
So,
Trying to build a tower to heaven.
Holy shit. Check out the all caps coming up here. Holy shit.
Good times.
Look at how many. Okay. Anyway, here we go. All right, moving right along. But man is simply getting in too big a hurry. He is striving to take over what he has not fitted himself to manage, and before it has been made lawfully his. For what man does not know is that if he first qualifies for the trust, it has been God's intention all along to place not only the moon and Mars, but the whole vast, limitless universe under his jurisdiction.
So astronauts are like creeping in on God's great plan to eventually give that to.
and then God comes in and says, "Don't jurist my diction."
The whole answer to David's question was not given in the Old Testament, it is revealed in the New. But the religious leaders of man have never caught the overwhelming truth. Those fucking dumb little sheep. To minds hostile to God's authority, it would seem too incredible to accept. So they read right over the glorious revelation of the true potential dignity of man. I'm just going to
Are we talking about dicks again?
I'm thinking about dicks. I'm sorry.
I never stopped thinking about dick, so there we go.
All right, guys. I'm just going to work with these massive quantities of all caps. So here we go. Even though explained in chapter 5, this answer needs repetition. Here then is the full answer to the psalmist's question, repeating the question. God inspired through Paul, what is man that thou, God, art mindful of him? And the answer, thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet. Just what do these words, all things, mean? They mean just what they say, all things. And I'm losing my place. The entire vast, limitless universe. Read the next words. For in that he shall put all in subjection under him. He left nothing that is not put under him. But how about the fact that to Adam, God did limit man's dominion to the land, the seas, and the atmosphere of the earth? The last sentence of this same 8th verse explains, but now we have not yet all things put under him. But we see Jesus crowned with glory and honor. He's got the British spelling of honor in here, by the way.
I think it's King James.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. In verse 10, Jesus is called the captain. Ooh, I have read a lot of smut where there's a lot of captains as the male protagonist.
As have I.
The leader, the pioneer, who has gone on before of our salvation. I'm losing my
Voice crack.
And just how and in what capacity do we now see Jesus? We see him in power and glory, upholding all things by the word of his power. Look at the plain English translation of all things.
Yep, you're like a 14-year-old boy right now.
I'm losing my shit. I'm literally losing my okay. In the more modern Moffat translation, sustains the universe with his word of power. Yes, Jesus Christ, the firstborn among many brethren, is now on the very throne that governs the entire universe. I can't do that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Religion's a serious topic. Sorry. This is a serious topic, and we need to be respectful of our creator and maker.
I'm sorry. I have my serious face on now.
All right. I'm sorry. 5 of our generations to come will suffer for our disrespect, but I'm going to continue. All right.
To the third and fourth coming.
There's a fourth coming? Outstanding. In order for that
So you're saying a fourth coming is forthcoming?
Oh, more all caps. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Just do it.
Okay. He now controls every power, every force, every energy that exists. And he has merely pioneered the way. If we yield to God and his government, they, through Christ, be reconciled to the great God and become co-heirs with Christ to inherit our resurrection and everything he already has inherited. And that is the true potential dignity of man.
I have a question though. Okay, today because of like Twitter and everything, we think of all caps as being a shout. So that's how you're reading it. But did they think of it that way in 81?
I think so. I do think so. Because it's like, why going from a small text to massive caps? Yes, that's shouting. It was emblematic of that. Yep.
I suppose. And Herbie was kind of known for his shouting and pounding on the podium. So
wait, let me check something. I have a book here.
And he thinks all the shit in all caps is so important that basically all of this crap is in all caps.
I'm really glad that you're highlighting the all caps things, Nancy. I think it really like gives the proper to to what's going on in this story here.
I'm gonna lose my voice actually. Truly, most men who prate around in their vanity about the dignity of man little comprehend the real meaning of those words. Man must first turn around and go the other way. He must repent, for he has been traveling in the wrong direction. He must go God's way. He must first qualify before God will entrust him with the government of the universe. Go.
Oh my God. The universe. Okay.
Wait, we govern the universe. And that's a bad thing according to Herbie.
Well, but the idea is that we would get to govern the universe. That's what he promised his followers, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that we would be the ushers into the kingdom.
give Herbie all your money and you get to be a ruler of the universe. Believe me, it's true.
Yes.
Why don't you believe me? It sounds really normal and real, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't mind my jets. So the law of Christianity, should we become like a baptized member, is love God, love neighbor. That's it. And so but yet, how often has the church put things around it and put him into a box? And it makes me so angry when I think about it. But the thing, it's
Well, as soon as you say
hear.
love God, though, then that comes with requirements. As soon as you
No.
say love God, someone can be like, well, God says this, and God says you do this
That's
if you
the
love him.
problem.
It
That's
just
the whole.
opens
That
the
was my
door. You
point.
don't need that. All you
Right.
need is love yourself and love your neighbor. That's
And hey, you know what? Honestly, I think that's also the message as well, especially for people who are not Christian. And it's like, oh, what's the big difference between the two? Not much. But I agree. No, I'm clarifying. Not much in the message, but what people do with it. That's it's not the actual. It's these ideas of like wanting to follow God or to love each other or whatever, and it's like we're gonna do this, and it goes right back to what Patti just said, that it just solidifies into like this dictatorial idea, and it's like if you don't believe the way that I do, then it's like and it's like Dick. Oh, Dick. Huh? So
well, but loving your neighbor isn't set by something else or someone else. How we love our neighbor, how we determine what that is we talk to our neighbor about how they need to be loved.
That's exactly it. I'm not saying you need Jesus. No, you go up to them and say, "How? I haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, tell me. Let's catch up. Let's talk. Let's actually know each other." Versus me coming to you. I met someone on Saturday, and the guy's a great guy, but totally missed the forest for the trees, because it's like I was being recruited into like this system. I was being recruited into like a type of discipleship system, and I'm sitting here going, it's like an MLM where you're being told to go find 10 people who will then find 10 people who will then find 10 people who will then find 10, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So pyramid
That's
scheme
become a
Christianity. I mean, it
business?
always has been, but interesting.
Yeah.
It's like I think this world would do well if money didn't exist.
I agree
So.
with you. That's the whole, literally, if I could get to the core of all the things, that's it. Except, well, I'll go one layer deeper. Money shouldn't exist, but that's because we're using money as our means of holding power, right?
Then how about
Taking
instead of
power,
money,
holding power. We're going to do the power thing, whether there's money or not, though. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I do think money is a huge problem, in the fact that fourth quarter earnings is driving things above and beyond what would actually be good for people and bullshit like that, right? But money is a function of power. And so addressing how we handle power and understanding what power does between us is where we actually should go. So I'm wondering if this is like how incredibly wonderfully made is it? Or how is it wonderfully made? Let's find out. Okay. How wonderfully made? Question mark. For this mortal life, the Creator made us out of physical substance and confined us to this physical earth. But he made us in his likeness, even though now merely the clay, to be refashioned, shaped, and molded into his own spiritual character. For this purpose, even our clay bodies were made to work in a most miraculous fashion. As David also said, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. Of course, the most fearfully and wonderfully made part of man is his mind. That is something. I'm sorry. Is this ridiculous?
It is.
Okay. That is something the brute animals do not have.
There's
Yet
still
the
an
mind-
exclamation point there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is something the brute animals do not have. Yet the mind requires a body to keep it functioning. And that man, so I'm yelling at the caps just so everyone understands. Yet the mind requires a body to keep it functioning, that man may fulfill his tremendous destiny.
I honestly think that God basically made this world into a playground and said, "Let's see what you can do," and then watch what happened as things got more distorted over time. And that's what I think the history of society is. It is like
So
we just like take something that we thought, and it just in newer editions gets lesser and lesser.
I don't know. If I see a child on my playground get hurt, I'm going to step in there and help that child, though. I'm not just going to let them be like, huh, see, you learned, you fell off, and look at you now. And now the kids are beating you. I'm not going to do anything about it because this is a lesson learned, right? Right?
But I also don't want to like control children either. I
It's
don't
not
want to
control, it's
control.
protect.
Yeah, and that's I don't know where the line it lies with that, because if
Different.
it's like I am open to suggestion on that type of stuff. I don't know all the answers. I mean, I don't think anybody does, right?
We
So
can ask the actual parent here. She'll know.
oh yeah,
I mean, I will tell you that as a parent who was, or I was controlled as a child. I think it made me so much less able to control my own children. But for me, that was the whole thing, was where is this line between I am imposing my will and controlling them, up to, like, where am I doing what I need to do to protect and prepare them?
right. Because
Like
we're
that
obviously going to
line
run into a
is
street.
not well,
Yeah,
right. And that line is not always as clear as, well, I'm not going to
no,
let
it's
them
not.
run into the street. It's like, ah, yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's like a
But
narrow
the
path.
whole thing, okay. Okay. So listen, the whole thing with the ball in the street, maybe this extends to any other parenting thing you want to say, is that there needs you're what you're doing as a parent is you're teaching understanding and caution, right? So you want to teach them enough about the world. You want to teach them how to, or allow them to use their critical thinking. So you're not telling them things that aren't true. You're
And encourage
explaining,
it.
well, yeah, you're showing them exactly what you can see that exists in the world and how it works, and giving them the tools so that they can analyze things themselves,
Yeah.
right? So a kid needs to know these cars go in the street. We look both ways before we go in the street, right? Like that caution, that learning is a thing that should already have been taught. So you're not controlling, you're providing information,
Mhm.
right? And you
Exactly.
can't enforce, you can't control that they use that information in exactly the ways you wanted. All you can do is provide the best information and understanding and practice of whatever it is you can. And then you have to be like, well, they're an autonomous individual too.
Yeah.
Like a quick yes, if they're doing something dumb and they're about to run into the street and you see a car coming, like, yes, run, grab them, yell, whatever. Like, yes, control that moment for safety. I get it.
Mm.
But like beyond that, to make them afraid of the street forever and always, so that someday they wouldn't run into the street to get a ball, not really the way. Like have existential fear of ever even looking, touching, whatever, a street, right? Because that's the equivalent of what we're talking about when we do religious conditioning, you know?
Hmm.
I am
Yeah,
100%
because
on board with everything you said, Pats.
me
100%.
too. And I was actually thinking about my own life here and looking back at like when I was a kid, and it's like how even today it's like I am so averse to controlling someone else's life. I am
Yes.
so averse to it. And it's like that I even fail I feel on the protection side as well. You know what I mean? Because it's like I just don't want to bother people. I really don't. But the thing is, though, it's like I have been learning too. Is like there's a lot of injustice as well, and it's like how can you without speaking up? And so there's a very fine line. One might say a narrow path.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it has to, like, we don't have to figure it out either. The whole thing is messy, and I actually think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because the point of this all is that we're talking to each other as we do it, right?
Mhm.
That's what scientific studies are about. That's what podcasts are about. Like, these are things that
People
humans
talk,
should
yeah.
be talking
Counsel.
about. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, like let's keep talking, everyone, because that we understand that like there's this end of the spectrum and this end of the spectrum, and neither one is great. So let's talk about where we live in that center space where we find our balance, and that's just going to happen collectively. There's not a hard right and wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also have like, and like, let's say like if there was going to be like a disagreement, right? Instead of making a new church, for example, I'm just using the church as example, but like say it's a company or say it's, because I think society thinks it is anyway, say it's a company and it's like, there's something the company wants to do, but about half the company doesn't want to do it, like with the shareholders and stuff like that. And they split over it. And it's like, why can't both happen? It's like if you come together, you're just like, hey, we understand we're both aiming for the same type of idea, but we have different ways of representing it. It's like, why can't both exist? And let people choose which one to go with instead of like being at each other's throats and saying it's you don't know our.
I would have so much more respect for today's Christians if instead of saying, "Oh, I'm going to raise my kids fill in the blank Christian sect," why can't we teach our children to be like, well, here's what I believe,
be a good person,
and here's why. But there are other options out there, or maybe you don't believe in any of this, but tell them the different ideas that let them think for themselves instead of saying, no, this is the way and you will fucking follow it or else you're going to be punished. Is it that complicated? Is it that hard to say, oh, I believe this religion, you believe that religion, whatever the fuck, and I don't have any religion at all, and that's okay too? Is it that hard to get to that point?
Currently it is. And that's the crux. It's like, I don't know.
It shouldn't be.
It should not be. I completely agree.
First, we have to respect each other. And I think that's what's lacking in today's society is our respect of each other. In fact, I'm going to find a meme that I think is very relevant to this and very important.
Oh, by all means, if you're searching real quick, is you're looking for the meme. Are you there? Oh, hey!
Haircut.
Nice hair.
Yeah.
Whoa, so different. Wow, it looks good.
So I was thinking though about we were just talking about punishment and stuff like my mind went somewhere and it totally went left field, so never mind. So
that's fine. I'm gonna look for the punishment.
And I was thinking about how do we get to a level of respect? Because it's like there's a lot of shit that people have done too. We have to recognize that. I've done shit.
I don't know where
and everyone's done shit. And here we go. Like it's like, where's our accountability? Instead, we try to put things under the rug. Where like after, and it's like one thing I think the Bible actually had that was a really cool idea was the concept of a jubilee, which is where everything is just slated clean. And the land is given rest, and I don't mean just the land. I'm like, why don't I don't know what, like, so as a Christian, talking about what I hope will be the kingdom of heaven is that it'll be like that. I really do hope so. I really do hope so, and that's what I hold to. Anything else I don't think is right, and I wouldn't worship my God if I didn't believe that.
I think we should all strive to have that here and now on the planet we're living on. Let's strive for that instead of expecting it to be.
I agree. I wish it were this very second. I wish it were this very second. But
I guess I'd rather be sitting here having conversations on the internet, hoping that we can have more people go, oh yeah, maybe we can do this. Because the more people that think we can do this and respect each other and do this life on planet Earth together, the closer we're gonna get to it.
Right. And it's like with your content, with my content, it's like a seed. It's like a seed that sprouts and then becomes a marvelous tree.
Oh, so
name it and claim it, Joel. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that doesn't have to mean that like what we're doing, like we love it, we see the benefit of it. It doesn't mean it has to like spread over the whole world to be valid. Like, it's making a difference for a few people.
And it can
those few
provide
people
shade
probably make a
from a
difference to those.
scorching sun.
Hell yeah. Right.
Yep.
If the tree that we're growing here does provide shade to some, then we've done it. And like, that's all we were maybe ever going to be capable of in this world that is half shit and half joy. Right?
Yeah.
So let's just live it and take good care of each other, give love to those that we encounter, and keep saying good things to those who need to hear it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck else is there?
I know. Well, unfortunately,
YOLO, bitches. Like, come on.
Egos get in the way, unfortunately. People that strive for power and control get in the way. So, what did people fight about before religion came onto the scene? What? Not
There
enough
was no before
resources?
religion came on the scene.
Huh?
There was no before religion came on the scene.
Yeah, you may be right about that. But
I don't know.
taking religion out of context, I mean, I think people would have fought over resources,
Yep.
water sources, animals, plants, because there wasn't enough for everyone living at the time and before they were expanding. Now there is. Now we have so much fucking abundance that we have billionaires in one corner of the world, and then we have children starving in another part of the world. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That is one thing I really hate as an American. Like, it's like there's one reason why I cannot like really be behind the American system, is because we have billionaires who have coffers that are so stacked full of money, and yet you have people sleeping on the streets.
Yeah.
And wondering where we have fucking hunger in one of the richest countries in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we've got
something that was supposed to be a paradise.
We've got some people paying tons of money to try to get their extra fat off of their bodies, while there's people who can't get proper nutrition in their bodies. Yeah,
No.
pretty sure that's a sign we're doing it wrong.
Our gluttonous.
Yeah. And it's like, what was it for? It was for an extra buck. It wasn't because of lack of availability of the things that were healthier. It was because of the extra buck.
Patti, there are people in this country that pay other people to take care of their pets' overweight problem. I'm not shitting you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I did see a really funny YouTube short recently where it says like they sent like a golden retriever to like grandma's house for a week, and it came back and it was huge.
I love it. Awesome.
Okay. I'm gonna read this fucking book now, guys. Good tirade, guys. All right. For this purpose, even our clay bodies were made to work in a most miraculous fashion. As David also said, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wait, did I read that already?
You read that already.
You did, but that gives me a segue because the Bible never says we were made of clay. So the Bible, I do personally believe, was written as a direct contrast to the surrounding cultures. And every single culture around them said it was clay, mud, something of wetness. But very specifically in the Bible, it says dry land. And I think it's really ironic here that Armstrong uses clay and misses the point.
Yet the mind requires a body to keep it functioning, that man may fulfill his tremendous destiny. He requires legs and feet to transport him. He needs arms and hands to make and do what his mind directs. He needs the life-sustaining apparatus, digestive, circulatory, respiratory systems.
Don't tell me he didn't do that. Don't tell me he didn't do that.
He needs the nervous system. He also needs the genital or sex system. Man has gone astray in this area of sex, as he has in every other possible way. We're just so shitty, guys. We're just so shitty. So speaking of going astray, I would just like to say that it was once asked of me, of my partner, is Patti leading you astray? And
yes.
I've been very proud of that for years. And so I would just like to mention that this is a thing I am working on doing. I would like to very much be an apostasy coach and be someone who is leading you astray professionally. let's go do all the bad things that we wanted to do, but we're too afraid to do. We can respect and even love family members, but if they don't respect and love us and they are only going to treat us well in their company if we're following the God and the like ideologies they want and doing everything that they want. Yeah, I don't have to be abused just because there's blood shared. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, just because I think in India it's very much like, yeah, if they're your blood parents, like you will respect them and honor them and this type of shit. I know it's very different in the U.S. too. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but if you're manipulating me, I'm not gonna respect you back if you're not showing me respect. You know. So
well, and you know what I've noticed is that respect that people even in the US seem to feel like they have to give to their parents is probably a lot more having to do with the fact that there's an inheritance waiting and that they could be written out of the will if they don't get in line enough. So yeah, there's all kinds of measures of control. And so I think a lot of people even who would prefer to not be in the company of abusive parents and in-laws put up with it because they know that they're screwed and their kids are screwed if they don't hang around long enough to get that inheritance money because our system is fucked.
It was the same for the WCG too. Whenever parents said things to their kid, it was expected that they would do exactly as told. Though I do understand it's much more intense over in India, but I was just thinking back on remembering like the different people I knew and stuff like that. Anyway.
Well, I just don't understand the point of us being individual, autonomous humans if we can't make our own decisions. It literally is like the Bible says, we're just vessels to be told, do this, do that, and don't stray from it. That's not how I want to live my life.
But the thing is, we can't live collectively where we actually take care of each other if we're living under other people's thumbs. If we can only actually live collectively and do well for each other on a broader scale, if we all have the freedom to be autonomous, because we would recognize then I have my autonomy. I want my neighbor to have autonomy too, because I really fucking like it when I have autonomy.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we're all autonomous, we can come together and be like, I want everyone to eat. How can we do that, guys?
Yeah.
Right. But we have to have trust that we're going to get to eat, because if we don't trust that we're going to get to eat, our fear gets in the way of us treating our fellow human that way.
That's exactly the point right there. And another thing too is, now I'm against money as a whole, but I would say one idea I came across in the past was the concept of universal basic income, which would be like you receive like something like 1,000 or 1,200 a month, and that like the rest is on you. So it's like you get universal basic, and then the rest is on you. So it's basically welfare for all. And the thing is, though, I know exactly what conservatives would say and stuff like that. It's pound 'em and kick, and it's bread and circuses. And the thing is, though, it's like, but what's wrong with them? And as soon as I say something like that, I know that rings in the ears of Christians, for example. But then I have to pose the question: have we ever read our Bibles? Everything right now, I just feel as if like is a big piece of bag of shit right now, and I feel as if we need to clean that bag. Maybe we should grab another handbag or something like that. Maybe that'll be our new bag.
Let's call it the new bag faith.
Maybe it's Gucci. I don't know.
No, let's not have it be Gucci.
I would be Gucci.
Thought we were against money. What's happening?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm Gucci. But what I mean is, though, it's like we've been with this for how long? And it doesn't have any end or immediate end in sight, I guess you could say. It's just like, it just continues and continues. Maybe in a few hundred years we'll get there, but like, oh my goodness.
I know. It's all right.
Baby steps.
Yeah, hope starts somewhere, right? Like, that's okay. I don't care that the stuff that I want to see have happen in the world might, even if I did something that like contributed to that thing eventually happening someday, like, it's not going to be while I'm alive. I know that. I don't care. Like, as I'm only going to get a blink of this universe anyway. That's fine.
I think we should get rid of this idea of always needing to take credit for what we put out into the world and realize that, hey, collectively, we're all making a difference. And just put forth what we can and don't worry about who gets credit for it.
Yes.
Or give everyone credit. Give credit where credit is fucking due. Like it's the actual genuine credit. Like, I mean, let's just say like that God made the earth and stuff, which I do believe, and we have children, and with your children, Patti, it's like when they brought you this beautiful like a thing that they drew. I don't think you looked at it and be like, oh, well, the contour here needs a little bit of work and you need to go over here. Oh, this sun, why did you draw a sun with rays? The sun don't have rays. And no, it's out of an expression of the heart. And then it's that child grows, that creative mind develops, which in a protection setting is amazing. But in a control setting is vile. And the problem is, what's the difference between these two? And getting to that point where it's more about fostering and harboring rather than in name only.
It's autonomy. That's the difference. If you believe that child has autonomy, you will provide the care in the form of protection and guidance. If you believe that child does not have autonomy and that you are responsible for molding it, then you will not afford the child that freedom to learn and grow. You will instead punish for mistakes.
And we call that abuse today.
Yeah.
It is.
So give kids autonomy, protect them, let them make mistakes. Make mistakes not bad. Mistakes are how we learn. Okay, anyway. So, fuck sin. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how we got there, but I'm here for it. And I'm going to read it.
Where's the hole? I don't know where the hole is.
Sin's got so many holes, you can fuck it any which way you want. Okay, I'm going to really do this. We're on like page 2 of the chapter, guys.
Wow, you see the subtitles of the next few.
Okay.
All female stuff coming up. I think you should take all that fast. Yes.
Okay. All right. Man has gone astray in this area of sex as he has in every other possible way. But the fact that man has, by wrong choice of mind, misused, abused, and perverted this genital system does not alter the fact that what God designed was very good. Oh, sorry. And it was intended to be, and indeed can be, if we are right-minded, put to most honorable and glorious use. We can, as mentioned before, glorify. Wait, no, hang on.
Yeah, you got it.
We can, as mentioned before, glorify God in our bodies. My preserve is so stupid. By preserving them for God-intended uses and functions. Young people glorify God by keeping their bodies undefiled as God made them until a right and proper and God-joined marriage. And the married by the uses God intended and instructed for the very great joy of love in marriage and the happiness of home and family. We have covered in an elementary way the genitative glands. It's so weird to throw the word glands in there for some reason. God fashioned in both male and female bodies. Truly, they are wonderfully and fearfully made.
What's he saying in an elementary way? Are we all just dumb fucks who can't understand what he's saying?
He literally told us that at the beginning. Do you remember that? He was like, you're just like not actually going to understand any of this. So just so you know, that's okay. I'll tell you what you really do need to know.
If you don't understand me, it's okay. I know what I'm talking about. You're just not understanding me.
Oh God.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Shall I move on to this?
At least I have one good ear.
You don't need to waste your one ear on listening to us lowly females.
It's an extra hole.
Just stay over there keeping your pussy wet. It's fine.
This one?
Oh!
But I don't I might now. I don't know. So did you want me to read is it one each right now? Like one section each?
How about I keep going on this one?
Okay, go for it. Yep, I'm good.
A lot. Okay, but this is all female shit right here, Joel. Something you wouldn't understand. Patty's gonna take it away.
Hearing, we shall not hear. Seeing, we shall
This is
not
our
see.
vagina privilege, Joel. I don't even know
I
why I'm
have-
saying that. I just feel like I should say it because you always say penis privilege.
I have BDE, big drag energy.
Oh, I'd love to see you in drag. Okay. The
Yeah.
female ducks. Quack.
I've never done it before. I've gone to shows and stuff like that. I mean, you saw it at the like. I love drag show. I've never actually done it, but I think it would be really interesting to try out sometime.
I think
the quacks that got
I got her with the quack. That's for you, Nance. Sisters.
She knows
Okay.
what I find humorous. Oh my god.
Girl power.
Girl
Okay.
power.
What is it about animals that makes me laugh so much? Like that and the meerkat D and the quacks. What the fuck, dude?
Quack.
Okay.
Okay. So now we
Okay.
have come to the ducts or tubes, which transport both ova and spermatozoa from their laboratories for the conception and gestation of humans who may become the very heirs of God. Wow. All right. That's pretty impressive. Straight from like our genital tubes to heirs of God in one sentence. Like, since we have just finished explaining about the marvelous manner in which the infinitesimal ova, the biggest cell in the body, and he's calling it infinitesimal ova,
I still can't believe he's doing that.
are literally shot from the ovary into the open funnel of the oviduct, we shall continue now with this duct connecting to the ovary with the uterus. This oviduct, which transports the ova, is called the fallopian tube. As there are two ovaries, one on each side of the uterus, there are also two fallopian tubes. Ova do not possess in themselves power of motility, as do spermatozoa. So much better, guys, because they have a tail. Once
They
the
have their path laid
carnation,
out for them. They don't need to find it.
once the carnation-shaped funnel at the at the entrance of the oviduct.
Sorry.
It's a pretty flower.
Carnation shaped.
I know.
What the fuck?
Oh,
Sorry.
I mean,
go
it's a bunch of like flappy tissue. I don't know. Opens to receive the ovum shot into it. The ovum travels very slowly on its journey through the fallopian tube. This tube is made up of a 3-layer wall with fine tentacles. When the ovum bursts out of its follicle and into the entrance funnel of the tube, it is like a hen's egg without a shell. Not according to size, of course. Okay, thanks for clarifying. It is smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. But the largest cell in the human body, the only one we can see with the naked eye. Fuck off, Herbie, you little dumb shit. Okay. But uncovered by its membranous envelope, it would soon perish if it were not immediately covered and protected by an albumous substance in the fallopian tube. Okay. The infinitesimal tentacles along the interior membrane of the tube very slowly propel this human egg on its way toward the womb. This journey through the fallopian tube is said by doctors and scientists to require approximately 8 days. Consequently, since most authorities believe the life of the ovum is limited, some say to only 24 hours, nope. Unless met and fertilized by a sperm cell, actually that might be true. All scientific opinion today asserts that impregnation must take place in the fallopian tube and that before the egg cell has proceeded far on its passage through the tube. That's true. It does happen up in the tubes, and then the fertilized egg comes down
It attaches.
and attaches. Right.
Right.
So that is accurate, right? It's not meeting in the uterus. Like
I honestly thought it could be anywhere. Now, I am not a scientist, but
I think it can be there too.
It was anywhere in the tube, really.
It is.
But what I love about it too is that how he's minimizing the egg here, which is great. What about like the sperm? How many sperm are are trying to find this egg, right? And they have a crossroads that they have to take. So then they take the crossroads. So at least half of them are already gone. And then as they're finding their way through, then they find the egg and they're so excited. Well, at least it looks like it when you say they're so excited. They found the egg. They found the egg, but the egg only lets one in. So and it's funny, it's one little teeny weeny infinitesimal, same word, sperm. Or spermatozoon, as you like. Oh, zoan, spermatozoan, your favorite word. And so yeah, it's really interesting how he goes after how poor the egg is. Can't move on its own. Doesn't need to.
You know what this makes me think of? You guys seen the movie Look Who's Talking?
Yes.
Fucking phenomenal. The beginning of the movie, if you've never seen it, Joel, these two are getting
Heard of it.
all of a sudden it shifts to a bunch of sperm trying to get to the egg, and they're like fighting amongst themselves. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get in there. And in the background, you hear the Beach Boys playing "Round, Round, Get Around, I Get Around, yeah, get around, a woo."
All right, I think I want to read about the womb.
Okay, 1 second.
Do y'all remember the Saturday Night Live commercial for the Woomba?
All across the country, thousands of women are discovering the next generation of freshness with Woomba, new from the makers of Roomba. The first fully automated, completely robotic feminine hygiene product.
It was like when the Roomba first came out. It was like, yeah, it was like a little tiny Roomba, and then it showed it going up a leg, and then it was so good, so fucking good.
I wonder if we have a male version of that. I wouldn't mind.
Oh, a penis cleaner?
Opposite. I would like to know if I can actually access my prostate.
Oh. Do you want to read the womb?
I guess he'll have to, huh?
Oh, I guess I will.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Gather round.
Gather around
The
Joel's
two
womb.
fallopian tubes. The two fallopian tubes lead to the womb or uterus. In medical parlance, this organ is still called by its ancient name, womb, but about equally with the use of the more modern term, uterus. It is a pear-shaped organ with the wider end at the top, and the fallopian tubes enter it at this wider top portion. It's suspended by cords and muscles from above, and its downward hanging neck, called the cervix, enters into the vagina. The urinary bladder is located just in front of the uterus. The normal position of the womb is to incline or tip slightly forward from the bottom, almost at a right angle from the vaginal canal. The purpose of the uterus is to receive, house, protect, and nourish the fertilized ovum or embryo. After 4 months, it is called a fetus. At approximately 9 months, it is born as a human baby with all the overwhelming potentiality to which he may become heir.
You didn't shout potentiality, Joel.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh, well. And it's...
and I love this.
Question. Right? In its quiescent state, the uterus is hard and muscular. Its walls so close together that actually there is no real uterine cavity. In non-pregnancy, the uterus is about 2 inches wide, much bigger than anything a man can do. At the top, 1 inch thick and 3 inches long.
The vaginal wall. Tell us all about it, Joel, because you've seen so many.
I felt one.
You felt one.
Did you want me to read more? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was just the womb one. Okay, I'll do menstruation real quick. Once each 28
wait.
days.
Can you say the title? Can you say menstruation?
Oh, menstruation.
Holy fuck.
Once each 28 days on the average, a congestion occurs in the uterus, preparing for reception of a fertilized ovum. If the ovum is not fertilized in the fallopian tube, then about 14 days after ovulation, discharge of the ovum from the ovary, the uterus sheds the special mucus lining prepared in readiness for the embryo. Sheds it. This slight hemorrhage then escapes through the cervix and the vagina. This monthly process is called menstruation. It begins at the age of puberty, average around 14, though sometimes a little later or earlier. Menstruation continues until the menopause. This monthly emission of blood in females was formerly supposed to be a periodic purging of poisonous accumulations. That, of course, is not the fact at all. If the ovum is fertilized, then the mucus lining, specially formed in the womb, receives the embryo and performs its important function. The average menstrual cycle is about 28 days. However, it may vary from 21 to 35 days. And occasionally, there are much wider variations. The average duration of the menstrual flow is about 5 days, but it may vary from 3 to 7.
All right. I guess I can't argue too much with what he's saying there. It's accurate.
I believe it's very accurate, so I enjoyed talking about it. Yeah, because it's beautiful to me. All of it, just so. Yeah.
Yeah. Menstruation's quite a process. I'm
Hopefully,
not a
it doesn't
huge
have to
fan
be
of
as
it
painful
after-
as it has been. Yeah, hopefully, it doesn't have to be as painful. But yeah.
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 The next section is actually the male ducts, which we'll have to get to next time. But then after that, the copulative organs.
I
I like
right.
the word copulation, by the way.
Copulation. You know what? I kind of like copulation too. There's something,
Copulate.
Yeah.
I don't know what it makes me think of. It makes me think of bugs having sex. Why does it make me think
Role playing like a police officer knocking on your door.
of copulate?
That could be a name for a male strip club, or the dudes that go for like bachelorette parties. Be like,
We are the copulators.
yeah, the
It's time for the copulator. It's time for the copulator. It's time for the copulator. Okay, we have like 10 pages left in the chapter, but some of them are big drawings
Diagrams.
of dicks and pussies, so. All right, everybody, that is halfway through chapter 10, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. I'm not sure we learned much that we didn't already know, at least, but, it was fun to learn about our parts. So, until next time, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yay!